What's up, everyone? Get reseated here. It's Sunday afternoon, Eastern time, 4:22. I was in California this week. Had some great interviews with Adam Duritz from Counting Crows, Tom Scott, the great saxophonist that's on a million records, Steely Dan, Joni Mitchell, Tom Scott and the LA Express, Hans Zimmer, film composer. You guys all know Hans. And then Denny Diaz, who played with Steely Dan on the played on the Do It Again solo, Steely Dan Do It Again solo, and he played the solo on Bodhisattva, the main solo on Bodhisattva. So it was a fun week. It's a really interesting interviews talking to these people and stuff. And one of the things that we talked about, like with Adam and with Hans, is kind of the pre-internet music, right? Music scene, like how people learned music before things like YouTube. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's like, how do you learn music without YouTube? How do you learn music on your own so that you actually improve your ear and use it for not only figuring out songs, but for improvising, for writing melodies? You know, Hans said, if you can't hear the melody, like, don't touch anything. Don't touch the keyboard until you have an idea in your head, right? It's great advice. Also, when you go to play something on your instrument, you want to be able to hear what you're going to play before you play it, really. And my core music bundle that we're going to have the sale on for this week is 5 of my courses, most of which deal with this exact thing. Okay, so the 5 courses are, of course, my Beato Book Interactive, which is my music theory course. It's a video course. You guys know that. People that have been following this. Video lectures, 500-page PDF. My Beato Ear Training, we're going to do a lot of that today. That's got 80 video lessons. All these are video courses, but that also has all these browser-based interactive modules that will drill you on these things. And my Arpeggio Masterclass, we're going to do some arpeggios here. And my Quick Lessons Pro guitar course and my Beato beginner guitar course. All this for $99. That's a ridiculous deal if you don't have it. That's a way to become a better musician. Open up another tab, and then when there's a break in the action, which there won't be any breaks till we're done, but no, if there's a break in the action, go over there, click it, and buy it. It'll help you learn how to play songs by ear. I say stop cheating with tabs. This is how you to really learn songs, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, there's a number of things that you want to master. I was one of my son Dylan's friends was over yesterday, and they were talking about perfect pitch. There's someone that Dylan knows that was telling him at school that he was trying to learn perfect pitch, and Dylan's like, "Well, you can't really learn perfect pitch." And Dylan's friend that was over yesterday said, "Well, what do you learn?" I said, "Well, you learn relative pitch." And he said, "What is that?" I said, "Relative pitch is just relating one note to the next." And he's like, "For example." And I had my little keyboard app on my phone, but if I got my guitar on here, so I said, if I have a note like this is the E, and I think ba, that note, da, 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 ba, do, da, 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 do, do. So I am singing the note and then playing it because I'm pre-hearing what it is. But how do I know what note is coming out when I go da, da, do? Or ba, 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 ba. Okay, so I don't know those notes. I mean, I know what they are once I have the that first pitch, E, and I go da 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 da. I know G, F sharp, D, A, E, G, F sharp, D, A, E. G, F sharp, D, A, E. So I'm thinking like, getting over a cold here. Ba, ba. So I'm thinking that's G, and I'm going da, which is down a half step. Then da, which is down a major third to D. Da. That's down a perfect fourth from D, and ba, ba is up a perfect fifth. Okay, so I am using relative pitch, meaning I'm relating one note to the next. And because I'm relating one note to the next, once I have my pitch reference, the note E, then I can start relating all the notes to E. Da, da, da. I know da, da is a major second. Then I know ba, it goes up another half step. Ba da 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 da. So relative pitch, that's all it is. It's one note relative to the next. Okay. Now, when you're trying to figure out something that's in your head and play it on your instrument, that's one thing to use this for. The other thing to use it for is to figure out the relationships of notes in a chord. Okay. If I have a chord like this, bum, bum, bum. Okay, so that's a C sus4 chord. Doesn't matter, or it doesn't matter what it is. I recognize when I hear these notes, I hear da is the lowest note and the ba is the top note, and I hear ba. So I hear those notes in the chord, and I can break them apart from the chord because I've trained my ear to hear something and then deconstructive. If I go ba da da, okay, so I'm hearing that, I'm raising that middle note up a half step, whether I play it like this, which we call harmonically as a harmony, as a chord, or if I play it melodically. Okay, melodic versus harmonic. So these, being able to hear these things and know what they are when you hear them is a different skill, but it's part of the same skill. It's recognizing the intervals. I did a video really early on in my channel. It was probably the second or third video that I had, and I had my kids in it. I had my daughter Lennon in it, and I did something like I did intervals like this, bum, bum. And she could sing that. Now she was probably, let's see, in 2016 she was 7 years old. Ba ba. She could just hear that. Lennon doesn't have perfect pitch, but she can hear those notes, and it didn't matter how whether I played it as a chord, because I played it as a chord and she could hear the notes, or if I just played bum bum bum, anything, ba ba ba, ba ba ba, any combination of notes that I would play, she could sing without having any training at all. Why is that? Because we had done so much listening before that her ear was developed to where she could immediately start to break these things apart. Renzo is saying something here. He says, relying on tabs made me neglect my ear training. I didn't improve my playing for years because of that. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. It's like, don't rely on tabs. Many of the times the tabs are not correct. Now, a lot of times they are. But the sacrifice the sacrifice is that you don't develop your ear. You don't develop your inner hearing, right? And be able to play things that you hear whether it's melodies and you're trying to write a piece or something and you want to hear, well, I hear it going here and next, and then you can kind of pick it out, okay? Or if you're learning a solo. If I'm learning a solo and I have this note and I hear ba ba, well, I know that note is here, but it may be ba ba. I could tell that that note is a bend, da da. I could tell it's a bend from a half step below into that note. So anytime that I'm trying to figure out a lick, whether it's an Alan Holdsworth lick, whether it's a Steve Lukather lick, whether it's a Jimi Hendrix lick, it's all the same. It's just some are more difficult because the interval relationships move faster, right? It's harder it's harder to figure things out that are faster and that are more sophisticated. If I am trying to learn a lick like something like that has all these kind of weird intervals in it, that's going to take a little bit more time in order to figure those out. But the way that you figure this out first is that you just learn basic interval, 2-note intervals combinations like this. Ba, ba. That's a perfect fourth. I played it harmonically. I played it harmonically, meaning at the same time, harmony, right? If I played it like this, that's a melodic interval. And these are the things that in my ear training course that I teach you guys how to do. It's like, so you start out with one interval sets. You do things like this. That's a major second. That's a minor second. Major third. Minor third. Perfect fourth. Augmented fourth. Perfect fifth. Minor six. Major six. Minor seven. Major seventh. That's a major nine. It doesn't matter what the interval jumps are. When I hear them, I know what they are. And all this is just training my ear and having done this. Jim asks, let's see, I think it helped encourage me starting out. Long term, it's better to use your ear more. The tabs are wrong and you need to adjust it anyways. Well, it's not just, somebody like, Rick, you're a baritone. Man, I'm definitely a baritone. So the other part of this is one of the exercises that I do, and then I did early on in my channel. I did it on a live stream way back. I'm talking back in 2017. I played intervals like bum bum. That's an interval of a fifth. They're actually the notes C and G. But what I would do is da. I would complete the chord. Da, to make it a major chord. If I do these, da. So this is, the outer notes are a fifth, and I sang da, the third, which would be A. And this is an F major chord, so it's F, A, C, F, A, C. Okay? And I call it complete the chord. And so this is one of the exercises in my ear training course, that you'll take this, da, and I made it a minor chord, and it would say, complete the chord, make it a minor chord, make it a major chord, make it a da, make it a sus chord, or make it da, a Lydian triad. Lydian triad would be 1 sharp 4 5. Okay, so and you'd be like, well, why do you need to know these things? Well, knowing what these combinations are, if I'm playing, that's like a C Lydian major arpeggio. It's got a cool sound. Love that sound. So when I hear that, if I hear someone play that, I instantly know what it is just because I recognize it, right? If I hear somebody play something like this, I know that that's just a minor seventh arpeggio being played down in thirds. Ba ba boo ba doo da 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 doo da da da. I can hear these things. I recognize the patterns, right? If I hear, I recognize that's an add 9 pattern, major add 9. D, E, F sharp, A. Then, da da do do, da. Anytime I hear any of these things, it doesn't matter whether it's major add 9, minor add 9, sus4. If I hear it dominant 7 sharp 9, Jimi Hendrix chord. That's I use the altered dominant scale on that. I recognize the sound of that chord, right? And then I recognize the scale that goes with it. How do I recognize the scale? Because I've worked on all of these scales. And this is one thing when you combine the music theory with the ear training, okay? You start out with major scales, right? I like to start out, so da 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 da. That's a major scale, A major. If I want to go A mixolydian, da 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 da, it has a flat 7. Da 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 da. Okay, if I go da 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 da, that's a Dorian scale. Okay, so practicing these scales by ear and then instantly knowing what they are. Oh, that's Dorian. That is, that's Mixolydian. That's Aeolian, whatever it is. Like anytime I hear these scales, I know what they are. It doesn't matter how dissonant they are. Does not matter. Jim says, having no musical background without tabs, I would never have tried to learn. Later and you start to appreciate the actual music. It's funny because I learned this stuff backwards, right? So I developed my ear by learning things off records before I knew what they were. But I couldn't really convey them to people until I learned what the names of things were, which is when I started taking lessons. So when I was about 15 years old or so. I started taking lessons. And then all of a sudden, I started putting the names to the things that I had figured out by ear. Okay. So when I went, when I started putting together my ear training program, which by the way is on sale, $99, 5 of my courses, my theory course, Beato Book Interactive, ear training, Quick Lessons Pro, which is like an intermediate guitar course, my Arpeggio Masterclass, and then my beginner guitar course. So 5 courses for $99 is $487 off. Killer deal. I'll just say it right there. I don't have ads in here. That's my ad. So then I had years of teaching ear training to people. Okay. When I was teaching college at Ithaca College, I taught remedial ear training. These were the people, one of the classes, I taught ear training, but I taught each semester I would do these night classes, be like one night a week for the people that were going to fail out, always be the second semester. These are the people that were going to fail music school. If you couldn't pass your sight singing and ear training class by the end of your sophomore year, you had to get out of the music program. Okay. So these are really the people that had the worst ears, and they were the most difficult ones to teach. So the strategies that I developed that are in my ear training course, I don't want to say I developed it for the I developed it for people, like I learned to teach people that had the worst ears. And I don't want to say that they were all percussion majors, but a lot of them were percussion majors. And so I had to find multiple strategies to teach people how to hear things, how to hear intervals. If it were interval names, if there were songs to sing, right? Bum, bum. If I'm thinking like, here comes the bride, right? You have every interval had da, 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 would be three blind mice. And you'd know that's like the last three notes of a major scale, for example, right? And I would look for any strategy that I could find to teach people these relationships. I would do static chords. I would do, I go through things and be like, okay, is this a major or minor chord? And, invariably people would answer, and half the class would say major and half would say minor. Well, this is a minor chord. Okay. And I would do major, minor chords. Then all of a sudden I would do something like this. And that's not either chord, right? And I would try to see if they would even recognize this. Or if I did, so I'm doing like, what is this? Major. What is this? Minor. What is this? Minor. What is this? Major. No. And that's a sus2 chord, right? So you always want to throw these things in there to see if people are really listening. But because there were no tabs at this time, early on when I started playing in the 70s, I couldn't afford books. Nobody had books. You had Guitar Player magazine, but you'd have to go to a magazine shop to buy these things or have a subscription to it. I didn't have Guitar Player. If you went to a music store, you would see that. You would see that there. You figured out the stuff by ear. When somebody's like, Rick, when did you, like the biggest video on my channel is the top 20 acoustic guitar intros of all time. Somebody's like, when did you learn all those? I said, what are you talking about? I learned them when they came out like 50 years ago. All these things. Or Kid Charlemagne, when I learned that solo. I learned these solos by ear off the records, by slowing stuff down, whatever I needed to do. But a lot of it was trial and error, And it's like, not only is it, where is this played? Right? So if I have those notes, that's E, A, B, C. Well, that E, A, B, C could be played there. There we go. So how do you know where something's played? You basically have to listen to what the thickness of the strings are, right? So, and then use common sense. A lot of the stuff is like this here. That's kind of an unlikely. That's more of what I would call a likely fingering. That's more of a likely fingering too. Typically, people will play things where they fall most logically in a scale. Okay, so these are the things that you use. So it's using your ear and using common sense. Are these things found within a particular scale? So if I had this, I would find the I would say if I had something like that, like take there's Peter Frampton solo, and Do You Feel Like We Do? He'd be all and to me that was obvious where that was, because he's doing. He uses that note there. That note E. Well, that's obviously, to me, that's obviously in that D minor pentatonic position, right? I played those notes many times. When I heard that, I knew this thing was here. He wasn't going to play it, you know. He could have played it there, but why would he? But why would he shift? Why would he shift from there and go? Doesn't make any sense. It's a nonsensical position change, right? That you would just not do. So, so this is how you start building these things. So it's not only building your ear, it's listening for things like timbre. Does a note sound like it's played up high on a thick string? Does it sound, because you know, you can play a lot of these notes in many places, right? I can play this note C here, 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 here. Listen how differently they sound. It's very, very thick sounding here. And it starts to sound, it's very thin, it's very thick and nasally. These are a fretted note here versus that note. I know that note is played way back here as opposed to here. But if I hear that, I know we're playing at the 5th fret probably, right? When I heard Stairway to Heaven, where's Jimmy Page going to play that? He's not going to play it up here. He's going to play it right here in this 5th position. And when you hear things like that, yes, you can play that thing in other places, but that's the most logical. Funny, Dylan, that was our joke, is that Jimmy Page plays an F so many times. Not a joke, but talked about this. Jimmy Page plays that note F many times in the Stairway to Heaven solo. I love that he does that too. That's so. And back then, people would be like, I'd be like, no, yeah, that's not where he plays. He plays this. He played the F up there too. It's amazing actually that he does that stuff, right? But these things go by so fast that your ear, you got to be able to pick these things up. And then you start getting into stuff that anything with chromaticism, I was doing this last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago. I was talking about this one. I mean, there's so many solos. Like if you do Kid Charlemagne, this. That's this lick in Kid Charlemagne, Larry Carlton, like he does it on a B flat 13 chord. Now this note, using the chromatic notes like that, you didn't hear that as much in solos. So it's to be like, oh wait, well, I can hear the da da, and I hear da. No. Well, what's that? Was there a note in between there? Da da da. Oh yeah, that's it. My brother John, who's on the stream here, these are the things that we'd be like, oh, that's definitely it, right? Well, I'd play it. And we go back and forth, and I said, I think it's this. And he'd be like, yeah, that's definitely it. That's actually great. And when when your brother has a great ear too, and you can both play the stuff, or he'd be like, no, I don't think it's there or something. And then you start getting into these really hard licks. Love that. So this is just stuff to drill constantly. It really is. This is why it's so important to train your ear and to actually work on things. Force yourself to not use tutorials. I would go, I would purposely go to Spotify or somewhere and or pull up the song on YouTube, the actual song Pull it up and go note by note. And if you have to slow it down, do that. But the best thing to do is to train your ear to hear intervals. And that the ear training course that I have is designed to do that. All these courses are designed to do these things. When you're working on arpeggios, when I'm on my Arpeggio Masterclass, it's in there. When I hear an arpeggio like that, I'm like, yeah, it's a minor arpeggio starting on the fifth. And I instantly know where the thing is going to be, where the fingering is going to be just by hearing it, right? Because I've played through these things and I've learned them. So it's always, you learn the things on your instrument and then you start saying, okay, I recognize that. Oh, that's a minor pentatonic going down, right down the scale. Or it's this pattern. You just start to recognize all these different patterns by ear, right? Or you're trying to hear something and you're like, oh, I know what this interval is, right? I know it's going up a perfect fourth. I know it's going up a major second. No, it's going another perfect fourth from there. And then you start to be able to play these things instantly. And that's really where you want to get to. So anyways, the sale goes through next Friday at midnight. Click on another tab here. Purchase it. It'll help your playing. Buy it for someone that you know that might need it, that can improve their ear. And try not to rely on these YouTube tutorials of people just showing you how to play stuff. It does not help you become a better musician. You need to force your ear to develop. That's it for today. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. We'll talk. Dean, great to see you, man. Keep me posted with your progress. Put in the comments section. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Rick Beato too. I'm getting close to 850,000 subscribers, trying to get up to 1 million here in the next couple months. I want to get my next plaque. All right, you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk. See ya.